Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. We'll be talking, of course, of the pending political situation as it stands today. We've seen the Prime Minister address the nation yesterday. He spoke about a variety of things. He spoke about his own political vision, about what he has wanted and wants to do for the country. Also, the pending no confidence motion, which is set to go forward on Sunday. At this time, of course, there are all kinds of rumors rampant all over. In another interview today, the Prime Minister spoke about what he has said. He thinks the tenets of an independent country. He talked about an independent foreign policy. He talked about every country being allowed to make its own choice as far as its foreign policy is concerned, as far as and his importance of honesty. The fact that he has always stood for no corruption, all of those things. What is set to happen in the next, of course, we've heard, all the political pundits say that the next 24, 48 hours being crucial. Of course, remains to be seen. We'll be talking about what the situation looks like today as far as the pending no confidence motion is concerned, the assertions and counter assertions that are coming from the government and the opposition also. All of that today on Perspective. I have with me Asiya Nasir from the JUIF, Abdullah Mumtaz Kaloon, who's from the PTI, and Rafiq Rajwana, who is from the PMLN. Thank you for being with us. I'll start off with Abdullah Mumtaz Kaloon. Ji, Abdullah, overall, as far as the situation is concerned, we've had a lot of, there is a lot that is being said at this time as far as the situation in the country is concerned. We've had, of course, also, the letter that the Prime Minister has spoken about, which is, the threatening letter coming from a country at this time. There is a lot that was said on that. The NSCA meeting, which took place pursuant to that letter. All of those things have happened now. As far as the situation stands at this time, according to the opposition, they say that it boils down to the numbers, and they say that they have the requisite numbers for the no confidence motion to go forward. What does the PTI feel at this time after the Prime Minister's address, after his laying down his vision, all of the things that he has stood for, his party has stood for, his tenure till now that he spoke about?
Assalamu alaikum. MARUKH, first of all, thank you for inviting me on your show. The questions that you've asked are extremely pertinent in today's political landscape. And I have to say that our Prime Minister Imran Khan has put his position, he's put his case to the people of Pakistan on the massive jalsa in Islamabad on Sunday. He has also shared contents of a dossier letter which seems to suggest it suggests that there is a conspiracy against the legitimate government of Pakistan. And on the other hand, we have the opposition who are clamoring for a vote of no confidence. And the people of Pakistan and the government feel that as the conspiracy is directly linked to this vote of no confidence, it surely should be right that the conspiracy should be investigated. And indeed, if the conspiracy has got roots to it, then action should be taken. Because we have evidence of a foreign power trying to change the legitimate aspirations of the people of Pakistan. They're trying to subvert the principles of democracy. And look at the United States. Back in 2016, there was evidence of Russian interference in the elections at that time. And the American government and all the institutions, they took it so seriously, even the Congress at that time, that they appointed a special prosecutor, Robert Mueller, who investigated the claims. So I feel we should not rush to any conclusions. And this is not a zero-sum game.
Let me come back to you. I will go to Rafiq Rajwana Saab. Let me come back to you. Ji, Rajwana Saab, overall, as far as the opposition is concerned, of course, the claims that you have the requisite numbers. But as far as at this time, the question of course, I think you've spoken before on my show about how, of course, it's a legal option. But in terms of continuity, in terms of, any government that's 3.5 years in, for any government to face this, whether it's your government next or any other government, if there is a change, what does it set? I mean, what kind of a precedent are we setting? Because we saw what happened as far as Panama was concerned. That was also, fairly around the same time as far as, the Sharif family was concerned, Nawaz Sharif was concerned, and what happened after that.
So much. Actually, you have talked that what precedent we are going to set. The question is that whether this precedent is going to be set against any provision of the Constitution, whether it is undemocratic, whether it is illegal. My answer would be no. The simple question is that the provision of Article 95, as I had already discussed on a previous program, that gives the power to the members of the National Assembly to move 20% of the total membership of the House can move a no confidence motion against the Prime Minister. Okay. When we talk about the no confidence motion, we should also talk about the confidence motion. When the Prime Minister nominate or designate has to secure, has to get the confidence of the House. So the intention of the framers of the Constitution or the framers of Article 95 have this thing in their mind that it is not necessary that all the time the Prime Minister continues to enjoy the confidence of the majority of the elected representatives in the National Assembly. So to take care of such like situations, and particularly in this case, it's not a motion by a single party. Now, with the passage of time, all the almost all the political parties, barring one, have joined their hands, and they are taking this democratic movement to its logical end. And everybody has to wait for that, and the Prime Minister has to face it, and it is his right to defend himself. It is his right to make best efforts to make this no confidence motion as a failure. Nobody can object. This is my view.
Right, okay, let me come back to you. Ji, Asya, I hope you've been listening to what Rajwana Saab and Abdullah Mumtaz Kaloon are saying as far as the pending no confidence motion is concerned. But of course, as far as the legal option is concerned, of course it's there, and we've had the Prime Minister come and say that he, categorically that he will not resign, and of course that he will face the no confidence motion. As things stand today, what does it look like as far as the government and the opposition is concerned, in your assessment?
Thank you very much, Marukh, for taking me on board. And secondly, I would like to apologize for not being in the studio due to some emergency. I would say that, as Rajwana Saab has said, that the time is that we must wait and see. But the thing is that the no confidence is very much democratic. And as the honorable member from PTI, he said that the Prime Minister has gone to the court of the people, of millions and millions of people. I would also like to say that the opposition members are not only 172 members, but including the ally partners of the government, over 200 members of the National Assembly. They are very much honorable, and they represent, each them of represents millions of people. So they are the ones who are reflecting the aspirations and sentiments of the people of Pakistan. And definitely the no confidence motion is very much in the interest of Pakistan, and is very much is the desire of millions of people of Pakistan. So I think that Prime Minister should go, instead of going to the people, he should go to the Parliament. He should face the no confidence motion, and the no confidence motion will decide the future of the Prime Minister, the future of the PTI government, and also future of Pakistan. So I think that now the time has come that instead of creating more political mess in the country, chaos in the country, Pakistan PTI and Prime Minister Imran Khan should bravely set back, and they should bravely, because they have lost the majority in the House. And once a Prime Minister...
Let me come back to you. Ji, Abdullah, as far as the no confidence is concerned, as far as having lost the no confidence is concerned, having the numbers, all of those things. But in terms of continuity, whichever government comes in, if in the eventuality that the no confidence motion for the Prime Minister succeeds for the opposition, a new Prime Minister will come. The candidate, of course, being Shehbaz Sharif Saab, which is what the opposition is saying. In the kind of situation that the country is in, where we've seen the dollar go up, I think, to 185 or even more at this time in the last couple of days, from I think 181, there is overall, the state of the economy, the state of institutions, all of those things. Don't you think it will be very difficult for any government that comes in, any Prime Minister who then precedes Imran Khan, Prime Minister Imran Khan, if the no confidence motion does succeed?
MARUKH, indeed, any Prime Minister who will come or not come after this will face the same issues that have been faced by the incumbent government, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf's government. And it's not as if that they will not be going to the IMF. Let me disperse that notion right now. They will be going to the IMF. It's not like they have a quick fix to the deep-rooted economic issues of Pakistan. They will be facing long-term issues and short-term issues. But I want to quickly address something that Asiya and yourself have already said about the Prime Minister losing the members in the Assembly. Let me clear this misconception. No vote of no confidence has taken place thus far. The vote of no confidence is staged to take place on Sunday. So we will see on Sunday how many people vote for this motion, and then it will become apparent as to whether the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan Sahib, has lost the confidence of the people of Pakistan or not. So until that point arrives, please do not urge the Prime Minister to step down, because there's no precedent for that. Benazir Bhutto Sahiba did not step down in 1989 when she had all of these people facing her, and neither will Imran Khan. Imran Khan Sahib will play to the last ball of the over, inshallah. So the second thing I want to say is, Rijwana Saab has questioned the precedent. My question to the viewers is, what is the value of the democracy if its roots can be shaken by a foreign power? I mean, what precedent will that set for any government of Pakistan? Surely, should that conspiracy not be investigated to see if it is genuine? And the people, those leaders in PDM who are against this investigation, it demonstrates a complicity on their part.
Let me come back to you. Ji, Rajwana Saab, that same question, according to Abdullah, he's saying that, that allegation, whether a foreign nation is involved, the threatening letter, all of those things, do they not warrant an effective investigation? And, of course, the allegations that have now come up, from no one short of the Prime Minister of Pakistan.
The National Security Committee has taken care of the situation, and these allegations were discussed over there. And still we have to know whether it was just a letter by the ambassador in United States representing Pakistan, the assessment or the discussion which they had with some of the officials of the United States of America. Now, when my learned friend talks about, or the PTI talks about the allegations, that either or whether all the opposition parties have joined their hands with the United States of America, it is really, I will not say it's ridiculous, but it's strange. Then whether all the allies who were the, what should I say, who were very blue-eyed people of ETI, who had joined them, and in the formation of the government.
As far as this letter is concerned, you're saying that this is, of course, the way that that it's come out. You're saying the conspiracy itself, it's strange, but the letter exists, and you agree that it's there is some form of communication.
There are two parts of the things. Number one, the letter exists, but what is the contents of those letters? The nation doesn't know about it. Now, the National Security Council has unanimously, just listen to me, please.
Gigi.
Are you listening? They have not even used the word conspiracy. They have not even mentioned the name of the country, which the communique which they have released, which I have seen on the television or I have heard when Dr. Shahid Masood was referring to that decision of this National Security Committee. There is not the name of the country, and then there is no word conspiracy. And the last word in that letter, in that decision, is that the government of Pakistan, the Foreign Office, should take this matter in a diplomatic norms. So that has to be taken. But blaming the opposition on this question that they are acting on behalf of certain superpower, it is really unfortunate and can't be believed. And this mere allegation. And just on the question of allegation, they are using it as a rescue. Just to save their skin politically, that it is not because that we have lost the majority, it is all being maneuvered. Nobody can believe it. We have to be very much careful regarding our diplomatic relations in different countries of the world, and we should not, and the Prime Minister is not supposed to tell this in publicly in meetings, in jalsas, or otherwise while addressing the nation. They have taken, rather it's a storm in the cup of tea. We should not believe it as a gospel truth. It may be an allegation, but what are the situation? What is the condition of the economy? What is the situation of politics in Pakistan? What is the situation of the height of victimization?
Before I go to Asia, I want to, because of course now, if according to you, the opposition of course is alleging that the no confidence motion will pass through. You're also, it's also Shehbaz Sharif Saab, who you have as a joint candidate fielded for the Prime Minister, against the Prime Minister in this no confidence motion. In the eventuality that does happen, the kind of situation that there is at this time, the kind of uncertainty we see, the state of the economy, overall as far as destabilization is concerned, are you ready as a joint opposition to deal with all of those challenges today?
There are two limbs of this question. Number one, it's being admitted that the economy is a bad shape. It's being admitted that there is instability in the country. Now, the question is being asked whether, have you seen the situation in the country, the economic condition, the political condition, the otherwise situation in the country? Even then, you are going to become a Prime Minister of this country in circumstances. Now, the situation is, if we let this situation continue, then maybe we can reach to a point of no return.
But
so
the government's narrative is that, were they allowed to continue without this kind of political instability which has been created, things would be different as far as, their economic policies are concerned, as far as their political, tandem with, their allies was concerned, all of those things. This kind of disruption that has now happened with everything being on a standstill, that's what the government is saying, has deteriorated. The situation has clearly, now deteriorated.
What should the government say? The government has to plead its own case. The government has to plead its own weak case. They have a very weak case. They can't say that really the economy is in shambles. The economy is in a very bad position. The country is going down. The dollar is going very high. And the prices hike in the country and other political failures in the country. The government can't concede to this situation. The narrative has to be like this. Had there been any other government, the narrative would have been like this.
But Rajwana Sahab, what was the urgency that propelled the opposition to act? That's my question.
It's not the question. There is nothing mentioned in the Constitution that there should be some urgency, there should be some time to move the no confidence motion. No, not at all.
I'm sure that the way that this has happened, the way that the opposition has come together at this time, there seems to have been some kind of urgency, right?
No urgency. The question is the situation of the country, political and economic situation, which has compelled the opposition to move for this no confidence motion. The political instability, the economic instability, these are the reasons. That's what the people are thinking about the performance of this government. So it's timely move. And the
but what happens, let me come back to you. I'm going to go to Asia Nasir. I will come back to you. Asia, overall, when you talk about the performance of any government, when you criticize the performance of any government, what happens is that you wait for the next elections. Of course, again the argument being that this is a constitutional way, the vote of no confidence, all of those things. But as far as your normal course of things are concerned, is it not true that if a government fails, then the people vote it out and they bring in somebody new?
Yes, Marukh, actually, Rajwana Saab was very right that there's not need of any urgency to bring no confidence motion at any time when the opposition, actually, it's not the opposition that feels like, but it's the situation, the current situation of the country, the economic mismanagement by PTI government, that the common man is really crying in Pakistan and people are ready to suicide. So the situation, the current situation, the political mess, the mismanagement, all these scenarios has really urged the opposition and millions of people of Pakistan. Actually, this is the desire of their hearts to change the government. And I think it's very much democratical that when a government has fails to deliver, it should be changed or it should be removed. There's no need to wait for the 5 years that it ruins the country totally. Secondly, regarding the
this has allowed the government, don't you think it's allowing the government an out, in the sense that it's allowing the government now to say that things were, according to them, on the right path, and that were they allowed to complete their term, were they allowed to exist in the manner without this kind of political upheaval which has surfaced, things would be different for the country come the next general elections after their 5-year term.
Yes, I think that 4 years are enough for any government to prove for their performance, to show their performance. But
the term is 5 years,
the very first day. Yes, the term is 5, but only 1 year. Actually, last year is the election preparation year. So 4 years are more than enough for any government to implement their policies.
And we've seen the polls that happened today, the local bodies polls. They show that as far as PTI is concerned, it's done well.
Actually, that to what extent, or we very well know that how much our elections are fair and free. Secondly, I must say that now PTI has come to the last tools of putting allegations on the opposition parties, and Rajwana Saab was very right that all the political parties, they are not part of their any conspiracy, and it's the fabricated story, the fabricated this allegation of the foreign funding conspiracy. I think that it's a very weak tool which PTI government has used against the opposition parties.
Okay, let me come back to you. Abdullah, overall, the way that this no confidence motion has come about, the way it's structured, the way we saw the allies leave the PTI government at this time, the way we saw their own people, the defection within PTI. Overall, how do you see the situation in terms of what it means for the future? Whether the no confidence motion passes or not, in terms of the reflection of how, the way the Prime Minister will, if he remains the Prime Minister, change things. Also as a party head, I'm sure all of those things are also now in the forefront, right?
MARUKH, the question I ask is, I reiterate what you've already asked the other panelist, is why now? Why the haste? Why not wait for 1 year to allow all the parties to face the people of Pakistan in the general election? What was the urgency that the vote of no confidence had to be filed on the 8th of March, and so soon after Prime Minister Imran Khan's trip to Russia? And then we have a letter from someone, a foreign power. It suggests that there is deep-rooted conspiracy to upend the democratic government of Pakistan, and it is linked to that trip. Okay. So what is the urgency now? I mean, the other panelists have spoken about 4 years are enough. I mean, these parties have been at the helm of affairs for 3 decades, and they've done nothing. We have still the same problems. Pakistan has not overcome the issues that Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's reforms of the 70s have happened. We still have not overcome those issues. So the thing is, when they say that 4 years are enough, they're not enough. We have a constitutional mandate for 5 years. And then
that's true.
vote of no confidence was filed on the 8th of March. One day prior to that, we get a letter. Rajwana Saab, with the greatest respect, he mentions that we have not mentioned the name of the power. The diplomatic norms are such that we cannot name who the power is. And even if the letter is from an ambassador, I'm not confirming that it is, the ambassador is not from PTI. The ambassador represents the Federation of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. Threats are not given to you on a platter. When we were threatened, Pakistan was threatened in 2001, whether you're with us or against us, and we'll throw you back into the Stone Age. It was also conveyed to someone. So those threats have happened in the past, and they're still happening. The people of Pakistan are not naive. You've seen the poll results in the KPK elections. PTI has come out on top. The people of Pakistan are with Imran Khan and his vision.
Abdullah, overall, before I go to Rajwana Saab, there is the Prime Minister discussed early elections today when he spoke in an interview. Whether, he said that according to him, that is the solution. When we talk about early elections, what do you perceive? The Prime Minister talks about going to the people. He talks about his, power stemming from the people of this country. Even when he talked in the Jalsa, even when he addressed, people in the Jalsa that happened in Islamabad a few days ago, that seems to be the core of all his, power, and rightfully so in a democratic country, in a democratic system that we've seen. What do you expect then, as a political party? What does the PTI expect?
MARUKH, since 2018, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf has had a wafer-thin majority in the National Assembly and the Punjab Assembly. Many of the reforms that we've tried to undertake have been impacted by the allies that we had, who also had objections and reservations. On the other side, we had an opposition that refused to accept the legitimacy of our government from day one. They've been labeling our government as a selected government. They've been trying to coax the military establishment to try and get rid of the government. And when the military establishment told them in no clear words that we're not interested, we're neutral, then they tried to engage the international establishment to try and get rid of this government. This just shows a sense of desperation. So Prime Minister Imran Khan is correct. If these loose amalgamation of parties are so desperate to get rid of the Prime Minister, why don't you go and come to Parliament? We'll have a motion for calling fresh elections, and let the people of Pakistan make the decision of whether they support Imran Khan or whether they support these people, the PDM. And at the same time, whilst I'm on the topic, the issue of some of the turncoats who have turned up at the Sindh House. I have to say, Sindh House, I will urge SECP of Pakistan to take notice of the fact that we have another stock exchange in Pakistan, which is existing in Sindh House. We have had M&As, we've had being bought and sold like cattle, and it is unfortunate. I mean, if those M&As and parliamentarians suddenly grew a conscience overnight, about the helm of affairs, the state of affairs in this country, then surely they should have gone back to the people and got re-elected on an independent ticket or another ticket. Don't waste PTI's ticket.
Even if you keep the turncoats aside, as far as the numbers, if you look at the numbers at this time, let me come back to you. I'm going to go to Rajwana Saab. Rajwana Saab, overall, if we look at the numbers at this time, even if we leave the people, who are the dissidents within the PTI, if the allies, considering the allies, the numbers overall will in any case favor the opposition, even if you leave those turncoats, right? Isn't that what it looks like at this time? Ji, Rajwana Saab, can you?
Yes, can you listen to me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. I have an exception which my younger brother, Mr. Abdullah, has said that about the dissidents' M&As, that they have been bought or sold like animals. At least these words should not be used. There can be other appropriate words, because these are the allegations. I'm not here to defend anybody from PTI who have decided to leave Imran Khan. But let's be very polite while using these words. Thank you so much, Abdullah. Don't mind it, please. Because being a senior to you, I would like to request you that it should be in other words. And the opposition is quite comfortable in comfortable majority. Okay?
Okay.
Let's take another aspect to the matter, whether the members of the Treasury Bench are always bound to obey the orders of or to side with the Prime Minister, even if literally they feel, they are thinking that the deliverance was not up to the mark, or they have other reasons to differ with the Prime Minister. We should not use other words against them. That is their right. And they have to face the consequences. They have to face the music under Article 63A of the Constitution. That if they vote for no confidence, then they will be losing their seat, subject to what is the interpretation of Article 63A by the Apex Court of Pakistan. So my respectful
But I
answer
think,
would be...
Rajwana Sahab, I think for them, for the PTI, it's about the timing of it, right? It's not about, I think Abdullah would second me on this, and the Prime Minister has also said so much. It's about the timing of them developing that kind of conscience, or developing those issues, or developing those reservations, which they had earlier. I don't know. In some cases, we've seen them actually. Let me go to Abdullah. I'll come back to you. Abdullah, we've also seen.
Yeah.
Ji. Abdullah, we've also seen members of the government, from the government side, MNAs actually say that they've voiced those concerns, some of them to the Prime Minister time and again. They were hoping to be heard, but that hadn't happened, and therefore they decided that this was the right route for them to take.
Marukh, the thing is that some of these MNAs, I know them personally rather well. The timing is everything. I mean, if they had been cross with Prime Minister Imran Khan's leadership, where were they for the past 3 years? They say they've made their reservations to the Prime Minister. That's completely false. Some of these MNAs have barely even spoken up in any of the parliamentary meetings. Some of the ladies in the reserve seats as well, who have no constituency whatsoever, even they were found in the Sindh House. So my only question to them is, if you had such serious reservations, you decided to grow a conscience,
are you
you
disparaging
were aware
the
of...
women nominated candidates because they don't have a constituency?
No, I'm not disparaging them. I totally respect them. But some of the MNAs have said, like Noor Alam Khan, my constituency is saying that they're really worried about the rise in prices. Some of them have tried to use those justifications. But what I'm saying is, some of the reserve seats have no constituencies, and even they were found at the Sindh House. So the question I ask is, if you were so concerned about the way Prime Minister Imran Khan's leadership, the way the PTI was conducting the government and the allies, why not leave earlier? You had the whole of the past 3 years to go back to the people, get re-elected on an independent ticket or some other ticket, but you did not. You decided to stab our leader in the back at the 11th hour. I mean, and then also when money as large as 800 million rupees, this is life-changing money in some of their situations. Around $3.5 million is put in front of you, and then you ask yourself, oh, I have a conscience. People of Pakistan are not naive. They will never forget these turncoats. They'll never forget this horse trading that is present and happening and has happened in the Sindh House over this past few weeks. So I urge the people...
Let me go to Rajwan. Before I go to Asia, I want to really, as far as the Prime Minister has been criticized recently for, the way that he has, as far as he has tried for the allies to see things from his point of view. He's tried to meet them, try to accede to their demands, all of those things. And for that, he's also been criticized. Do you think that he left it too late? Do you think that, now, if he'd done it earlier on, perhaps things would have been different?
Actually, they had the grievances, might be since long, might be since the inception of the government, might be since they joined the government. But at this moment, the situation has ripened to this stage that they had to join their hands with the opposition for this no confidence motion. Now, there is another question, that whether all the allies and the opposition parties, have they done some illegal or unconstitutional, at the cost of repetition I'm saying it, I'm reiterating, whether they have done some illegal or unconstitutional act, number one. Number two, I think that the Prime Minister should have said wholeheartedly that I welcome this no confidence motion. That's their constitutional right, and I will face it, as he said, that I'll face it till last fall. He is a sportsman. He should have probably said it instead of taking rescue to some letter, instead of alleging bad names to the political leaders. They are also representative of the people, as Mr. Imran Khan is. Really, I having an experience of about 40 years in politics.
Sahab, but that is the question, right? They are all representative of the people. If you talk about the allies, you talk about the turncoats, you talk about the people that you have now. The opposition has now suddenly found themselves, as friends, even as far as your party is concerned, as far as the PPP is concerned, in terms of alliances. How futuristic is it to expect this kind of a joint opposition alliance? How far do you think it will go? Because these are people with divergent political interests, divergent political ideologies.
There is one point agenda to go for no confidence against the present Prime Minister, and then to hold the elections as early as possible. Then when we are in the field, then every political party will launch their own candidates in the field, and they'll be contesting the election with each other. It's not a political alliance of future. It's not a
So
political
this political alliance is only there to bring down the Prime Minister?
Not to bring down, to have no confidence. Let's use the word no confidence, which has been used in the Constitution.
Let's use the word no confidence, but that is essentially what you're saying.
My request would be, my humble suggestion to the Prime Minister would be that if this no confidence motion succeeds, he should come straightforwardly and say that I tried my level best, and I have been the no confidence has been shown against me by the majority. Okay, I welcome you and take care of the situation, and I assure you my full support to run the country in this interregnum, and let's go for the election.
But the Prime Minister has said that if that does happen, he will go to the people.
No. He has said that I'll prove more dangerous. It's not. It's unbecoming of the Prime Minister.
Because of what he believes is his power as far as the people are concerned.
No, he has to go. Every political leader has to go. Every outgoing Prime Minister has to go. That is his right. That is his prerogative. He is heading a party. He has to go. That's a political answer. But he should welcome all this with open hearted. He has said everything, every possible bad words and maligning the opposition, everything. When the game is over, day after, then he should come straightforwardly.
Let me come back to you. Asya, do you think the people will stand behind the Prime Minister in that eventuality?
Can you please repeat your question, please?
Do you think the people of Pakistan will stand behind the Prime Minister in the eventuality that the no confidence motion does succeed against him?
I think that Rajwana Saab was very right. Again and again, I'm saying that any political leader has all the right to go back to the people, and I think this is the right approach also. That after the no confidence motion succeeds, he has all the right to go back to the people, and if the people think that he has delivered, or if the people think that he was on right, people will stand back back him. But I think that the other side, the different political parties, I must say that today all the political parties are unitedly saying that the incompetent government and the Prime Minister and his government has failed to deliver. So it means that they are also representing, I'm again and again saying this, that the people who are standing at the back of the opposition, at the back of all the political parties, they have also mandate. So I think time will decide this, and the new election, the re-election will define this, that the people stands with who.
Right, very true. Ji, Abdullah, your comments.
MARUKH, the thing is that even at the height of the memo leak scandal, in which a certain foreign ambassador of Pakistan was implicated in trying to invite American intervention in the affairs of the military of Pakistan, the PMLN did not have it in them to bring a vote of no confidence. Even during the height of Panama leaks, People's Party did not find any, they could not muster any courage to bring a vote of no confidence. Now, after 3 years of trying to bring an end to Khansa, they're trying to seek an NRO from the PTI government time and time again through various back channels, which were all spurned. They've decided to bring this vote of no confidence right after Prime Minister Imran Khan's trip to Russia, where he has tried to foster new relations with a new country. And on the back of that, this vote of no confidence is brought. Why now? Why couldn't the opposition not wait 1 more year? What is the haste in bringing this, and why? What is the issue in this conspiracy not being investigated? These are the questions that the people of Pakistan have, and they should be answered by the PDM. That is all I will say.
Right. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have. Thank you so much for joining us. Asiya Nasir, thank you for being with us. Abdullah Mumtaz Kaloon, thank you for joining us. Rafiq Rajwana Saab, thank you for being with us. As far as the number game is concerned, as far as what happens, as the no confidence motion is concerned, of course we'll know on Sunday. But at this time, as far as the instability is concerned, as far as overall the continuity of the political process is concerned, all of those things are of concern or should be of concern to every average citizen of this country, to every political or non-political person. As far as this government is concerned, successive governments are concerned, the parliamentary process is concerned, the way that this no confidence motion has happened, what kind of a precedent it can mean for the future, the way we've seen the allied parties, the way we've seen MNAs, within political parties turn around, all of those things, should be, if they are not, of particular concern to all governments. Of course, early elections, like the Prime Minister said, are one solution. But so is also perhaps a collective thought process behind this kind of a movement, whether you call it a legal movement, whether you can legislate against this, whether what kind of a future can it mean for any successive government that then comes in. Thank you so much for joining us today on Perspective.